Big Mike here with
Hayes Entertainment.
Today's episode. We got UFC beauty Anthony Lionheart Smith, light heavyweight with a record of 34-16. Here we go.
If you like what we're doing, you hit the subscribe button. If you're looking for a mug, perhaps a hoodie, head on over to IOnlyTouchGreatness.com.
What's up, guys? This is Anthony Lionheart Smith, UFC light heavyweight contender, and this is the I Only Touch Greatness podcast.
We the best, just like Khaled says. We the best, we stay hot to death. We the best, always down to wreck. This Hayes Entertainment, what you know about that? We the best, just like Khaled says. We the best, we stay hot to death. We the best, always down to wreck. This Hayes Entertainment, what you know about that?
Can't beat us, we MCs. I make cats run like DMC. My boy gets tased, it's the ENT. On the track, I blow like TNT. Hot boys like CMB. Girls spend the night like a B&B. I say what I want what I say. Remain at the top, I'm the top of the game. Step back, I come up quick fast. So fast, when I stop, y'all get whiplash. So what you wanna say today? Hate the game, dog, I'm the ace of spades. I call player
Ryan Hayes and Big Mike. I Only Touch Greatness podcast.
We rip MCs like virgin pussy.
We the best, just like Khaled says. We the best, we stay hot to death. We the best, always down to wreck. This Hayes Entertainment, what you know about that? We the best, just like Khaled says. We the best, we stay hot to death. We the best, always down to wreck. This Hayes Entertainment, what you know about that?
We the best, yes, that's something I can put plain. Hey, cause them ballers get paid. Pop bottles, homie, got dollars for days. Get low, sit low, in them politics trades. You want West Coast, just holla at Hayes.
We the best, just like Khaled says. We the best, we stay hot to death. We the best, always down to wreck. This Hayes Entertainment, what you know about that? We the best, just like Khaled says. We the best, we stay hot to death. We the best, always down to wreck. This Hayes Entertainment, what you know about that?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Anthony, how's it going?
Good. How we doing?
Good. Big Mike here, and that's Ryan.
I'm Ryan.
Awesome. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, we're up
Nice
here
to
in
meet you.
Vancouver. We're up here in Vancouver, Canada.
There we go. Rock and roll.
All right.
Thank you very much for taking the time for us today and coming on. We really appreciate it. We're big fans of yours, man.
Hey, no worries, man. Thanks for having me.
So, born in Texas, grew up in Nebraska. What was life like in childhood like?
Yeah, I wasn't in Texas very long. We moved to Colorado Springs. My dad was in the military. Shortly after that, I was a baby. My parents got divorced when I was young, and then we moved to Nebraska, this is where all my mom's family's from. And it was all right. You know, it's a small town where I grew up at, about an hour or so south of where I live now in Omaha. You know, small town mentality. I'm a half black kid. You can imagine how that went for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, once you're good at something in a small town, though. Once you're good at something, you know, a lot of that stuff kind of tends to go away. So, it's kind of a mixed bag for me there. That's for sure.
Okay. What challenges did you come across and get into where you are today?
Oh man, there's a lot of challenges. My whole life's been nothing but a challenge, man, to be honest with you. You know, I just struggled to find my way a little bit. You know, I had a lot of heavy stuff I had to deal with growing up, and you know, I'm sure it's this, you know, a similar thing that a lot of people have problems with. You know, I grew up without a dad. My grandpa died when I was young. You know, just a lot of up and down struggles, and then you know, I've had my own career struggles. You know, I had a lot of problems when I was younger in the game. My direction was off. I was kind of floating around the world, not knowing what I wanted to do. Fortunately, I found fighting, and
You definitely made the right decision.
Yeah, it worked out. That's for sure. It definitely could have went the other way.
Yeah, you're definitely good at what you do.
Did you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, I wrestled. I wrestled and played football. You know, I was pretty good at both. I didn't really commit myself too much in school, so it's not like I had scholarship offers jumping out all over the place because I didn't really give a shit about school. I was only essentially in school to compete, and you know, once I figured out college wasn't going to be a thing, I actually ended up dropping out of high school halfway through my senior year.
Okay. How did you get into fighting in the first place, and when did it really start?
I think the UFC's played that story a couple times where I just came across like an amateur fight night flyer getting a Subway sandwich with a friend of mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just seen like an amateur fight night flyer, and then I was like, I don't know, man. Fuck it, I'll do that shit, So I just wanted to go check it out. I went to go watch one time, and it just, I don't know, it was just exactly where I felt like I should have been. And back then, there wasn't a whole lot of athletic commissions in the Midwest that were kind of sanctioning the sport, so it was kind of the wild, wild west. I wasn't even old enough to fight. I was 17. I just lied about my age. And
did you win that one?
No, I lost my first 4.
Okay.
They just needed someone. They just the announcer just called out, to the crowd, like, we need someone that weighs between 160 and 180 pounds. And I was like, man, whatever, I'll do it. And they gave me this little quick rundown of the rules. And then there, this is in 2006. So there wasn't that many rules, to be honest with you. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just went out there. I had a little bit of boxing, and then I could wrestle. And, I had a good fight, and I lost my first 4 though. And then I started training, and kind of the rest is history.
Jeez. Was there a purse for that fight where they picked you out of the crowd?
No, man, I fought my first 24 fights for no money.
Wow.
My first, well, as an amateur, you're not allowed to get paid.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah, I fought my 24 amateur fights. I fought those unpaid.
Yeah. Remember Mark Hunt told us his first fight, he got a 6-pack of beer for winning.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Back in those days, it was crazy, man. Like, there was ways you could make money, but you couldn't actually make money to fight. Like, we could do a whole nother podcast about how I made money as an amateur. But, back then there was a lot of guys betting on the fights. You'd have these big money dudes that just would love to show up with all their buddies, and they just bet on these underground fights, and then they'd cut you in on some of the winnings. And, promoters would, they'd say, hey, we got this guy up in, Yankton, South Dakota, who we think will beat you. So those big money dudes, they take you up to Yankton. They bet all the Yankton money dudes on the fight. Then the promoter pays you $1,000 in travel money. It's not for the fight; it's for the travel. And
wow.
Then, and then you get cut in, and you leave with $3 or $4 grand in betting winnings and some travel money.
Okay, well, you still got to get paid. You still made a way to get paid, so that's all that mattered. What's the most important thing about training camp for you?
My mindset. At this point in my career, like I said, I've been doing this since I was 17. I'm 32 now. I got 3 kids. I got a wife. I got, my Sirius XM gig. I got the ESPN stuff. I got a lot of things that I do. I got a lot of irons in the fire. So, I just have to make sure that, there's a whole process that goes into getting ready for training camp. There's, my wife has to schedule everything. We got to get the schedule with the coaches and get all that stuff together. And then depending on, what that schedule looks like, there's, am I going to drive there the first time? Am I going to fly there the first time? Am I, cause I have like an extra car that I leave in Denver. And then if I don't feel like driving at all, then I have to fly. So then she's got to set the rental cars up for 8 weeks and she's got to buy the flights and cause I fly home every weekend. Like I as long as I've been training in Denver, since 2017, I've never missed a weekend home with my family. So I fly out Friday night after sparring, train here in Omaha with my coaches here on the weekends, and then I fly right out Monday morning and make it there in time for my first practice Monday morning. So it's a lot of logistics.
It's good that you can mix in both, obviously, family time, and you got your own training time and working time, that kind of stuff. So that's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of logistics to go into that too. I mean, she's buying 2 flights every weekend for 8 weeks, plus a rental car, plus wherever I'm staying. Like, there's a lot of stuff she's got to kind of, maneuver there. And then every once in a while, I used to mix in ESPN analyst gigs during camp. So I'd have to leave training camp on Thursday. I'd leave Denver, fly to Vegas or wherever that gig was, do the gig, fly home Sunday, leave home Monday morning back to Denver. There's a lot of logistics there. So just getting my mind right and getting prepared for kind of the grind of training camp. Like this last one, it worked out pretty well, but
I'd say it worked out really well.
Typically it takes me a couple weeks to kind of get in that training camp groove. Like I usually, I dread leaving my family. It's a lot of time on the road, and
That's a hectic schedule.
Yeah, when you don't train, like when you don't do your training camps where you live, it's pretty lonely, to be honest. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's not like you're there on vacation or you're there partying. Like every once in a while you'll go out to dinner after practice or something with a couple teammates or something. But for the most part, it's wake up, train, eat lunch, train, maybe get a chill for a minute, and then you got to train again at night, eat dinner, relax for just a little bit, and you wake up and you go back to practice, and it's just rinse, wash, and repeat, and it's over and over and over. And unless you're at practice with your training partners, you're pretty much alone. So you just got to get your mind right. So that's the most important thing for me, is just making sure I get my mind right for these training camps.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You have a favorite sports hero? Or who did you look up to in the fighting?
Yeah, no, I don't know if I really got a hero. I got a lot of guys that like I take certain things from, like that. There's certain aspects of certain people that I like. As far as my favorite fighter, it is and always has been Rampage. I like Rampage's fight style. I wish I could fight the way that Rampage fought in his prime.
Yeah.
I like his mentality. I like how he's done the right things to kind of be able to sustain himself outside of fighting when he's done. And he's funny, he seems like a funny dude. And it actually he's one of the few guys in this game that I really want to meet that I've never met or had the chance to spend any time with. So I just, it's the howl and the chain and the aura and just, when you get a Rampage fight, it's going to be fireworks.
Absolutely. Always is.
That's a good question. I'm going to write that shit down on my thing. If you can meet anybody in the world, who would you want to meet? Yeah.
That would be one of my guys for sure.
Oh,
one of my favorite fights of yours, obviously, was I believe it was your first in the light heavyweight for the UFC with Rashad Evans when you knocked him out. Bring me back to that fight.
Yeah, that was a weird one for me. That was it wasn't the first world champion that I'd fought, but he was the first UFC champion that I'd ever fought, and it was weird, man. Like the build up to that was weird. Like people were kind of just shitting all over Rashad, and I'm the fresh new kid on the block coming up to 205, and he was trying to get on a run, and people were just really counting him out and really kind of trashing him. And I knew that Rashad was more dangerous than they were giving him credit for. But I remember being mad at Rashad that he wouldn't stick up for himself. And like I found myself in interviews sticking up for him myself. Like, wait. Like this isn't as easy as you guys are pretending it's going to be. Obviously the fight worked out and it was, it was a fairly fast fight, but that very easily could have went the other way and been a way tougher fight. A little sidebar on that. Now Rashad's like one of my mentors. I spend a lot of time with Rashad. We work on the ESPN desk together. We got a couple training trips together planned. If I ever have any problems, and it's not just in fighting or anything like that, just in life, if I have any questions or just got things that are bothering me as a man, as a father, as a husband, or as a fighter, Rashad's one of the first people that I turn to because he's just it sounds.
He seems like a super legit dude.
Oh yeah, I know it sounds weird for me to talk about Rashad the way that I am, but he's one of the sweetest human beings that I've ever come in contact with. He's really introspective. He's really in tune with himself and his surroundings. He's very honest with himself. He's like my Yoda, like when I talk to Rashad, like he says some things to me that when you're looking for something, like you have a question about something, like there's always something in your head, like what you want to hear, right? Like you know what you want them to say.
Yeah.
And Rashad doesn't give you the answers you want. He gives you almost other questions. Like he'll make you dig deeper. He'll say shit, and you're just like, "What in the fuck does that mean?" But then you have to sit there. Like there's been times where he's been sitting in my hotel room with me. We're gonna work the desk the next day. He's got his feet kicked up on the wall, backwards on the bed, on the other bed, and he's like saying some shit, and I'm just like, I have no idea what he's talking about. But then I have to dig deep, and I have to like really, really think on the stuff that he's saying. And he forces you to like think within yourself. So that fight with Rashad obviously propelled my career, significantly. But because of that, and then us working together and us being able to get past what happened in the fight and become such good friends, that fight in itself like really changed my life.
Okay. What do you think of Jimmy Manua calling you out? And who's he to call you out when he's 0-4 for the last 4 fights?
Does that guy even fight anymore?
I know. I hear you. I hear you.
He's kind of been doing that every once in a while. Like he's just clout chasing. You know, he's like, I'm doing big things, and I've done things in the short time I've been in this division that he only wished he could ever have done. So if he wanted to talk so big, he should have talked like that when he was still fighting. But the weird thing to me is he's always been nothing but respectful to me. Like when we're in person, and I find that a lot with guys that have ever talked trash to me. No one has shit to say when we're face to face.
Yeah, because you're gonna get popped in the face.
Yeah, like and that's how I was brought up. Like I grew up in small town Nebraska. Like you talk shit, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you, and that's just how it goes. Like I'm not some street thug. I'm not out here trying to street fight, but you're not going to disrespect me to my face. And I
100% agree with you.
I think that's very clear to everyone in the division and anybody who's going to talk trash to me. No one does it to my face. Not him. You know, like there's a lot of guys that have talked about me on the internet that have nothing to say when we're face to face. And I'm not the guy that's going to like chase them down, or I'm not, you know, like I don't care, man. I don't live in this world that everybody else in this sport lives in. Like fighting is very much a huge part of my life, and it's something that I love. But like when I'm not fighting, like I don't hang out with fighters. I don't hang out with professional athletes. Like everyone I hang out with, they're regular ass people. They're HVAC guys. They're college recruiters. They're nurses. They're, you know what I mean? Like that's just not my life. I'm a regular ass dude. So I just don't.
Everybody's a gangster on the internet until they get checked on it.
Exactly. So with that said, he's been nothing but a fanboy when we've been in person. Wants to shake my hand 100 times, give me a hug, and tell me how great I am. You know, then you know, and stuff. And I get it. Like I beat one of his best friends. I beat Gustafson in his hometown where they both live.
Yeah,
like,
you did.
I get it. Like I'm sure there's a little bit of some shade there that he wants to throw my way, and it is what it is.
Another one I've heard about, obviously I'd like to hear the whole story if possible, in a short form obviously, but the whole home invasion incident, what happened there?
Yeah, man, that was a crazy deal too. You know, part of it's my fault. You know, I was grilling outside, and I was actually smoking a brisket, and I was smoking it over all night long. Typical Nebraska shit. And, I left the garage door open. Like I came out the garage and then went in the front door and just didn't shut it. Some, you know, crazed maniac, you know, came in at like 4 a.m. screaming and hollering. And, you know, I think a lot of people have seen it from there. I beat the living shit out of him for a long time. And
yeah, I heard the cops took forever to get there.
No, not too bad. Like I live right outside the city limits.
Okay.
So, excuse me. So it's, like the Omaha City Police they don't police where I live.
Oh.
So it's the sheriff's department that polices where I live. So there's no actual people that are like designated to patrol where we're at. So they actually made it there in like 6 or 7 minutes. So it's fairly fast for being 4 a.m. in the middle of the night in a place that isn't patrolled. So
is there footage of this?
Do I?
Is there footage of this or something?
There's footage of him coming in. Coming into the house, and like he was trying to break into other people's houses too.
Oh,
yeah. What a dirtball.
So there's a lot of it out there, but
he went to the wrong house.
unfortunately for him and for me, you know, like, you know, there's a lot of other shit to go along with that. Like my kids are still in therapy. It still bothers my wife. Like,
oh really?
It was a mess, man. I mean, there's blood all over the house, and I mean, it was a pretty traumatic thing for everyone in the house.
Yeah,
What do you do to calm the butterflies before a fight?
You know, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out, to be honest with you. To be really honest, you know, I think I've been pretty open, especially moving into my last fight, that I've had to work a little bit harder to manage my physical and mental health a little bit. And I used to just not acknowledge that they were there. It was like, I never really felt nervous, but if I ever got the butterflies or whatever, I just tell myself I was being a pussy and just, you know, suck it up and deal with it.
Yeah.
But, you know, as I've been going, you know, talking to my therapist and I guess kind of just allowing myself to feel a little bit, I don't really do anything about them. I just make friends with them and realize that they're there. And I found that calms it a lot more than it used to. Like, you know, I woke up Saturday morning before I fought Devin Clark, and, you know, the first thing, you know, you open your eyes and you're in your hotel and you wake up and you first thing you realize, like, oh yeah, I'm not home. and then you're like, all right, I'm in Vegas. Oh shit, I fight today. And then you just, I immediately get those butterflies, and it's not like crazy bad. It's just a little bit of anxiousness. And I just told myself, like, it is what it is. Like, the sun came up today, it's going to go down tonight. And before I go to bed, I'm going to make that walk and I'm going to fight, and there's nothing that I can do to change it. So, I just make friends with it and just accept it. And that tends to make it just go away. I'm fairly confident that, there's no way in the world that whoever I'm fighting doesn't feel exactly the same way. And most likely they feel a lot worse than
You just can't show it.
I don't want to steal one of Mike's questions here, but what's your ring entrance music?
Actually, I just changed it. Not permanently. I've been using Return to the Mac for a long time.
Oh yeah, sweet. Mark Morrison.
Yeah, I've been using Return to the Mac for a long time, and that's kind of like my calling card. Like Donald Cerrone uses Cowboy, Anderson Silva uses DMX, Anthony Smith uses Return to the Mac. That's kind of just my thing. But I changed it for my last fight. I just made a lot of changes mentally, physically,
a little switch up,
and yeah, just like kind of, I don't know, new mindset, new vibes. I just wanted to feel something a little different walking in that time, and so I used a Biggie song, "Ready to Die."
Oh yeah, okay.
That's a great one.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Mark Morrison and DMX have a song together, which is
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they got a pretty dope song together too.
Oh, I have to check that out. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You fought some of the biggest names, obviously, John Jones, Shogun, Alexander Gustafsson, and now Devin Clark. Does one fight stick out more than the other to you?
No, not really. They're all, each individual fight. Like I could do an entire podcast.
Yeah.
With you guys about what each, like, I can remember exactly where I was at in every single one of those fights. Like,
wow,
where was I at mentally? Like, what was going on in my life? Like, how did my body feel? Like, what injuries did I have? Was I banged up? Was I, like, where was I at? Like just a whole, every single one of them, I was in a different place, like.
Who would you say your toughest opponent then thus far would be?
I don't know. Because you got to remember all those guys are, that's all contingent on where I was. So like, there's fights that I remember back in like, there's a guy named Charlie Lynch. I don't know if you guys remember Charlie Lynch.
I've heard the name.
Charlie Lynch was on The Ultimate Fighter way back in the day. This was like 2009. Famously, Dana White said that Charlie Lynch had the worst broken nose he's ever seen in his entire life on The Ultimate Fighter. So if you go back and if you go back and look at if you go back and watch Charlie Lynch on The Ultimate Fighter, it's a pretty gnarly broken nose. But
okay, I'll have to check that out.
I fought Charlie Lynch, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 months before that. And like at the time for where I was at then, that was like the toughest, baddest motherfucker I'd ever met in my whole life. Now looking back at it, obviously, if I fought that same Charlie Lynch, it'd be a fairly easy fight. But
right.
So again, all that stuff is kind of contingent on where I was at the time of that fight. Okay. I'd imagine most people would probably expect me to say John Jones is my toughest opponent, but he's not.
No, he just trolls you on the internet, that guy.
Yeah, John Jones is not even in my top 5 as far as toughest fights I've ever been in.
We'd like to see you go with John Jones again, actually. I'd love to see that.
That makes 2 of us, my man.
What a fucking internet troll. Like, really? Like, there's another guy, you didn't even bring his name up earlier, but there's another guy that probably wouldn't say shit to your face, but he sure talks a lot of shit on the internet.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. He's been nothing but respectful to me when we've been in person. And again, like, I think it's easy to see that I don't take nobody's shit. So if you want to talk trash on the internet, that's fine. But if like we're in person, you're doing that, like we're fighting. Like that's just how it's gonna go. Like again, I'm not some thug. I'm not trying to start street fights and stuff, but you're not gonna disrespect me like that. Like
and that's how you should be raised. That's how you should be.
My wife wouldn't accept that. My mom wouldn't accept that. My grandpa would roll over in his grave. That's just not how we do things.
What's your favorite strike and submission?
My favorite strike?
Yeah, and submission.
Oh man, I love elbowing people.
Okay.
There's just something about just cracking a clean elbow. And over time, those elbows.
Sorry to interrupt. We just had Miranda Maverick on. I think it was the same card as you. Do you remember that elbow she fucking threw? Like that was nasty.
Oh yeah, she's nasty in general, man. She's good. I like her. I like watching her fight, man. She's nasty.
Very nice. Very nice girl as well.
Over the years, me throwing the elbows are I've done less of them recently because my elbows are just absolutely trash now. You know, I just got bone spurs and, you know, so I'll still throw them, but I've definitely taken some damage myself from throwing so many of them. As far as submissions, man, I don't know. I think it's probably clear to everybody. I'm a back take guy. So, my best submission is probably a rear naked choke, but,
I figured you were going to say that.
yeah, there's ones that I enjoy doing more. I'm just not as good as I am with taking people's backs. And essentially, like the rear naked choke is not really about how good you are at the choke. It's about getting to the position. Like once you're there, you can eventually you'll choke anybody. But
oh yeah,
it's hard to take people's back. It really is, and it's hard to hold it. So
I love seeing the anaconda choke, but you never really see people do that much.
No, it's because it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. You know, like I was a really big triangle person for a long time. Like I hit triangles on everybody. But as people get better, and you know, like triangle is a fairly basic submission, and it's fairly basic to defend. So it's really, really hard to get on good guys. And it takes a lot of little small details that you have to switch and change and trick people and get them going one way to get them to go the way you want them to go. And so like I haven't had a triangle finish since 2015, you know, until Devin Clark. But you know, if you look back at my record, I have several of them.
Okay. And I was gonna say, did you obviously see that Jordan Levitt knockout from last weekend?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that guy.
Yeah, we had him on too.
Yeah, he's good shit. We had him on,
man. He seems like a cool dude. I like his style. You know, like he's you know, I know everyone kind of pegs me as the striker, but that's, to be honest with you, that's not, I've never called myself a striker. You can't find one interview I've ever said I'm a striker. I've been a jiu-jitsu guy my whole career. My jiu-jitsu's always been way better than my striking. So I do find myself drawn to really good jiu-jitsu guys, and Jordan Levitt is no different. You know, he's really, really clean submission guy. He's a character, you know, he just seems kind of goofy and funny. So
He is.
Yeah, he seems like a cool dude.
Do you watch a lot of the other cards?
Yeah. Well, I have to watch them all with my radio show and stuff like that. I have to be. Yeah. I gotta stay up on that stuff.
Hey, Anthony, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time today for us. Obviously, you can tell we're huge fans of yours. We watch every fight of yours. We follow you. It meant a lot to us to be able to finally chat with you. Obviously,
we'd love to have you back on. We'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Hey,
I'll hit you when we edit it and post it online, but we'd love to have you on again, buddy. You're
great, man.
Perfect, man. You guys just reach out. I'll come on.
I'd love to crush beers with you one night and we'll chat.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm crushing them right now, brother.
Yeah, let's do this over a beer sometime.
Sounds great to me, guys. You guys
take care, bro, man. I can't wait to see your next fight.
Thanks.